Today I got a question about, since I've been living in Leon for a while now, about 4.5 years, and I visited it previously, but I've really only known it for 4.5 years. What do I see as the greatest need in the community, and what things would I like to see improved in Leon? Which is interesting that I'm going to do an episode on Leon when I film every episode in Leon, and today I'm at Laguna de Apoyo talking about Leon, but that's where we are. So we're going to do that because I have a very busy week. I'm actually only going to be back in Leon for a couple days. By the time you see this video, I'm practically already on my way to Matagalpa if everything goes to plan. So I'm doing a lot of traveling at the moment. I'm going to miss my dogs terribly. I have been hanging out. She'll be here somewhere behind me is Lucifer the chicken, who just woke up on a chair across from me this morning. These are very Nicaraguan things to have going on. And so I'm doing a little bit of a different video today to get this done while everyone is getting ready. We're getting ready to head out and go zip lining this morning before heading back to Leon this afternoon on the bus. So let's talk a little bit about Leon and what it needs. So I don't know if I can pick out for me. Okay, number one need in Leon for me is restaurants. This is a tough one because you can't just put restaurants in. You could magically teleport in a bunch of restaurants that are exactly what I want. They'd all just go out of business again pretty quickly. So that's not going to solve anything. There's no easy way to fix this. Part of the problem is that in Leon there isn't a culture of food. And sorry, I'm just wandering around in the yard today. It's what we're doing. But you're going to get a little bit of views in the background of the Laguna de Apoyo area, and the lake is right there on the other side. I'm just going to turn around so you can see it. The lake is right over there behind me. I can't point with a microphone. That would be stupid. So there's no culture of food in Leon. If you come into Managua, there's a big foodie culture. If you come out to Granada, there's a moderate foodie culture. Even Masaya has a bit of one. Hinotepe, of course, really big. The Carazo area, the South Masaya area, even though it's not any cities or very small cities out there, huge foodie culture. It feels much more urbane in the way that people behave than Leon does. Leon is a big little village kind of thing, or a little big village, whatever that is. And even though it's the second biggest city by population, it doesn't have that feel. And almost all the restaurants have the same food. And when you have someplace that isn't the same food, often the quality is very low, or the service is very bad, or the prices are super high. And there aren't a lot of options that we really like. There's a few, for sure. Like, I'm not saying there's nothing, but for living there, if you're visiting, you're all set, right? But if you're going to live there, we find that the variety of food has been very low. And that's one of the reasons why we have a private cook. If I lived in Granada, I may not do that. I may be like, no, I really want to go out to all these beautiful venues. And Leon has beautiful venues. The food is just all the same. So as an example, I might go to Barbaro, which is a nice setting, but the music's too loud. And El Vivero, absolutely gorgeous. Love the setting. Or geckos, right? And all of them have good food. All of them have loud music. All of them have a nice venue, and I enjoy going to them. But all of them have the same food options for me. I don't get variety between them in any real way. Plus, places that do supposedly have variety, Barbaro as an example, every time we go there, we joke about that we have ordered the shawarma pescado every time for the last 3 years. We've gotten it once in 3 years. They're out of it every time. Now, every time you order it, they go, yeah, of course. Then they come back from the kitchen and go, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have it. And we're like, we knew you didn't have it. And then at the end of every meal, we order the chocolate mousse. They've had it 3 times in 3 years. But every time they go, yeah, of course we have it. And then they come back and go, no, we don't. And those are not the only things. We go through regularly with people, and it's more than 50% of our order every time they don't have. So everyone orders, and then almost everyone orders again. And that's just how it works. And it's everything. It's drinks, food, you name it. Nothing on the menu is available. And so even places with decently sized large menus, when it comes down to it, you're down to generally the same few options. And if you're going to get something else, it's unpredictable. It's very rare that they will have it. So as someone who lives there full time, while you get a variety of venues, the variety of food is so low that going out to eat really becomes a problem. And as a vegetarian, it's exacerbated dramatically, of course, because meat is the specialty, right? So if you eat meat, there is a lot you can do as long as you're okay with similar food from a lot of different places. Of course, they cook it slightly differently. So that gives you way more variety than we're getting. And for my kids, because we use, they want to stay home a lot of the time, Pedidos Ya delivery only has like 2 things we can get. Like, it seems like, look at all these restaurants, and then you're like, not a single one offers anything without meat, even though they all could, right? Very many of them have all the ingredients, all the things, and they offer combinations, but they won't offer things without meat. Even like Pizza Hut, they won't offer, under normal circumstances, a cheese pizza. They don't offer a cheese pizza. No one offers a cheese pizza. You have to get toppings. And coming from New York, where a normal pizza has no toppings, right? We're used to cheese as the default, and then you add toppings. And we often add toppings, but we really like cheese pizzas. There's a different, it cooks differently. It's just different, right? When we make pizza at home, it's always just a cheese pizza. Why? Because we can never get it anywhere else. So it's our chance to finally have it. And so, like, even little things like that, places that have tacos, like, oh, they have all the ingredients, but they don't make a bean taco. They will never make, they'll have mushrooms. No, they won't make a mushroom taco. And so often it's like, I wish I could just change which ingredients they let me take off. The one thing they won't let me take off is the meat. And Pizza Hut does the same thing. A lot of their items are meat only. You can only get this with pepperoni or jamon. There's no option for nothing, right? And if you say don't include it, they'll always ignore it. Like, we do that all the time. Well, okay, let's get the pepperoni. We'll pick it off and give it to the dogs. But we'll put in the notes, please don't put on the pepperoni. We're vegetarian. They just ignore the notes. Like, that's not a thing in Nicaragua for the most part. So restaurants and food variety, really big for us. And every so often a new place pops up and we're like, yes. And then, like, there's a Polish restaurant, this is years ago, opened up on the beach, has a really good reputation. We were so excited, but I talked to the owners and they're like, yeah, we can't get the ingredients to do vegetarian things, so we just can't. Like, we'll try our best, but we really can't. And so it's like, oh my gosh, that could have been so good. And, a lot of times places pop up and have new things. You're like, yes. And then they're closed by the time you want to go the second, third time. We had an Italian restaurant that we liked, went out of business, and still not that much variety, but at least it was something. There is now a new Italian restaurant that's quite good, seems to be doing okay. So we're happy about that. But just in general, the selection of restaurants is very low, and that is a killer. So private cook becomes necessary. Now, in the long run, that is cheaper than going out to restaurants, dramatically, actually. So that part's good. But I like going out to restaurants. My kids like going out to restaurants. We like getting in the car, going somewhere, sitting, talking around the table. It, like, forces you to have family dinner in a way that family dinner at home doesn't make sense. And so we enjoy that. We enjoy the process of going out. We like seeing things and being out, and, the venue changes and stuff. So we don't get that at home. But food variety, that would be my number one pick. And I know that's a weird one and not really what you're thinking of. But for me, living in Leon, that is the thing that makes Leon so much less attractive, other than the weather, compared to other cities. Of more practical things that could actually be changed and actually have a real potential for people to get involved and fixed. Obviously, you could get involved and open a restaurant, but you're going to run into the same problems. Unless you're willing to run at a loss and just do it as a charity, for me, it's not going to make financial sense or anything like that. So, but one of the big problems in Leon, and all of Nicaragua for sure, but Leon is pretty bad with this, is litter. And this is something that you see everywhere. Now, a lot of it isn't human litter. There is a lot of human litter, but the bigger problem is that the ability to protect and contain trash, because dogs get into it and tear it open, because storms come and wash it away. Sorry for the incredible light going on. It's actually a really beautiful day out here at the lake, but because of the way the city is, it's kind of on hills, and it's got rivers coming through on different sides of the city. And because of this, when there is, some basilisks are running around, so that's pretty cool. I need to point out, I'm going to turn around here. So there's the lake, and yesterday, right up in these trees, we had howler monkeys just running through. They didn't make any noise. So they did a little bit, but mostly they're just hanging out and jumping from tree to tree, which is cool. They're on their way somewhere, coming along here. So it's a neat little spot for that. Anyway, so because of the way the city is, because of the rivers, trash in the streets, like, you could be up in Zaragoza, pretty high in the city. You could be very diligent, put your trash out for collection, and before the trash people can get there, and they come around, they're very good, right? Before they can get there, dogs will come and tear it open, or people will open it up because they're trying to do recycling, which is good in some ways. And then if you have a storm, which part of the year you're pretty good, but a lot of the year you'll have, like, a big rainstorm will come, and all of that trash will not just get scattered around the street, which is the starting point. But then once the water starts flowing, it'll actually start flowing downhill. So it'll go down the streets. It'll eventually flow down to the rivers and pour over the bridge sides. And so the rivers just collect all this trash. And there's no good way to deal with this. There's no simple system for this. And so this is a major undertaking. Yeah, we want to get people to stop throwing little bags out the sides of the buses. And those are things we can tackle, and they're starting to tackle that. So we're seeing improvement. But Leon especially has physical challenges to this in the way that some other places do not. The constant flash flooding is a major challenge for trash in the city. And it's not so dangerous that like living there, you'd be like, oh no, there's flash flooding. No, the city is built to contain it. Like from colonial times, they built the city around the flooding system. So as long as you stay away from the bridges, like basically the water just pours through the streets. But you know, I walk through it and the sidewalks are meant to be above it. And sometimes you'll see these really high sidewalks. You're like, how awkward is that? That's because that's where the water goes. They want those to be above the water line. So the water's not pouring through the houses under normal circumstances. So it's not over the sidewalk in normal circumstances. There are times it'll happen, but that's why there's high sidewalks. That's actually a containment system. The roads themselves turn into rivers, and the water is directed, as it would naturally be, to the rivers. So it goes down to the bridges and pours in huge storm systems to get the water into the rivers, and then the rivers turn into some pretty serious things during big storms. And the one thing you have to worry about is if you're near those, yes, you could be swept away if you're down there, but it's really obvious not to be there, right? It's not like you're going to be hanging out by this big storm drain on the side of the road. Suddenly a major storm comes along, the water rises. You do have time. It's not like a couple of seconds. It takes several minutes or an hour, and then the water is torrenting, and it's clear this is going over a bridge. I don't stand on a bridge during when there's a flood going on underneath it. Like that's just a normal good bit of advice. So it's nothing to be worried about, even as a driver. We drive through it. Yeah, sometimes you can't pass certain places. That makes things a little bit more challenging. Certainly things are slower, but it is not oh no, it's so terrible kind of thing. Not at all. But from a litter perspective, it is a big challenge. And that is something that I don't even know how they need to tackle this at a municipal level. Do they start putting out big plastic containers for trash? Where's that going to go? How are you going to deal with that? What trucks are going to deal with that? Like there isn't a system for that. Do we build the elevated? They've tried this in the past, building nice elevated trash holders that trash go into. That seems to help a lot, but it's a big infrastructure and very costly and takes up a lot of sidewalk space. So that's an unknown. I don't know. Do you increase the frequency of collection? Maybe, but they already do it quite a lot. Like I don't know how you could do that reasonably. They used to have fences everywhere to catch the trash, but over time those get destroyed, whether from all the trash against it or people messing with it or whatever. It's hard to say. I don't know. But you go down and you say, oh, this used to catch the trash and it doesn't anymore. So things like that are pretty big. But that overall, how trash and litter is handled in the city, being able to tackle that, getting the community involved with coming up with ways to handle it, maybe having, drop-off boxes that are, in every block kind of thing, and everybody puts their trash in there, and I don't know, right? But then you get other problems, right? So this is a problem that lingers because it's a tough problem to solve, but it is really noticeable and big. Obviously, getting people to get out of the littering habit is a starting point. All right, Josie Mar is here in the car going somewhere. I don't know where he's going. Maybe to get food. I'm going to go check before we continue. He's off to get some breakfast tomatoes, I guess. We're just, it's early in the day here, and I'm getting some videos done while I can. Everyone is showering and getting ready to go to the zip lines, and then Managua and Leon. So those are my two biggest things, honestly. And I know that they're weird ones. And then very clearly the next issue, and this is everywhere in Nicaragua, has nothing to do with Leon specifically. So the first point is very much a Leon thing. I mean, small villages will also have food limitations, but you expect that. But the bigger cities generally have more variety than you would get. Leon also, as part of the restaurant thing, doesn't have very many cafes. Like the concept of, and it's such a city that would be perfect for this, sit outside and enjoy coffee and people watch. That should be a major cultural thing in Leon. Should be, meaning like on my personal opinion. And it's just not. There's a few good cafes, such as Sakura, which is right by La Colonia, and obviously Dr. Coffee, the best in the city for sure, out in Sutiava of all places. Both of them focus on having very nice inside gardens. they're beautiful spots. We love going there. The coffee and stuff is good. There isn't like this culture of amazing coffee things going on, but in Hinotepe, Matagalpa, you're going to get that, right? So in Managua for sure. So it's not like it doesn't exist. It's that it doesn't exist in Leon really, and there's just these couple of options, and so you're very limited if you're a cafe person, which my kids really are. That's a big miss for us. So we're really looking forward to our trip to Matagalpa coming up in a few days, because cafes everywhere. It is the cafe city. I can't wait to film cafes for you guys and show you some of that stuff going on. Luke is up there, so I need to let him know that I'm going to be hanging out. Luke, if you see this video, before I remember to send you a note, I'm going to be up there. I need to let everyone on the channel know, like, I'm coming to Matagalpa this weekend, which just occurred to me as I'm making this video. But I am in the WhatsApp group. So real quick, while we're talking about this, so anything you need for information about the channel or contacting me or anything like that, get down in the show notes. Just look down there. Everything is in there. We've done this for years. It's pretty complete. No one ever asked me for anything that isn't already there. Social media, how to contact me, and our WhatsApp group, the public WhatsApp group for expats of Nicaragua, which has subgroups for like every major city. Get in there. It's obviously free. It's not like the Facebook groups. There isn't like some heavy moderation where someone is like, oh no, our business is going to be exposed or something like that. And like Facebook groups are weird, and some of them are good, but a lot are bad, and it's hard to know which. And the problem is when things are moderated so that if someone posts information that you need and it gets deleted, you don't necessarily know that you're missing critical information. So someone can post misinformation and it can easily be protected. And so we were very scared of the Facebook groups. And they don't, Facebook can randomly remove you from them, like weird things on Facebook. So WhatsApp, it's an open group. And just join there. The link's in the show notes, and it's a great place to connect with people from different communities and just the general group. We got hundreds of people in there, and it's a thriving group, so I heavily recommend you join that. And of course, if you have any questions of your own, for sure, send in a video. The information on how to do that is in the show notes. Just make a horizontal video of yourself, 1080p or better, 30 frames per second. Send that in to me. Just use your cell phone, or if you have a GoPro or something, great. This is the Pocket 3, by the way. Just send in a video. That'd be amazing. Ask me if you need help, but all the information's in there. And of course, if you just have regular questions, get in the comments, ask, say hello, leave comments, whatever. We love all the engagements. And let me remind you, Thursday nights, we do a live stream almost every Thursday. I'll be trying real hard to do it this week. Holy cow, this week is busy. Because it's Tuesday that I'm recording this. I'm still in Laguna de Apoyo. I'm only going to be home Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on I'm going to be in Matagalpa, and then I got to be in Managua on Monday. So, wow, a lot of travel going on, just a lot of things. I'm recording this. We're here on a trip for Ava, who is leaving for Australia. At the point I'm recording this in 6 days, which means at the time you're seeing this at most 4 days. You're probably actually going to see this on Thursday, maybe Wednesday. So that live stream will be coming up soon. Make sure you tune in for that. Okay, let's move on with more stuff in Leon. So, like I said, the trash thing is acute in Leon. It exists everywhere in Nicaragua, but it's acute in Leon. If you go to some places like Nagarote or Matagalpa, they have extremely little trash. If you go to some places like Managua, it's in the middle. You'll see areas that are terrible, but areas that are great. So it's much more moderate. But Leon is generally pretty bad with that. So that's why we pointed out. And the restaurant thing, again, most of the places of similar size, way more restaurants. So Leon specifically lacks that. As a more general Nicaraguan thing, something that you're going to see absolutely everywhere is the stray animals. And this is heartbreaking and difficult, and something that we can help with. This is a spot where it's not Leon specifically, but it's also not something we're helpless with. So as expats who are going to be living here, we have a number of things we can do. And for those who are not aware, there's simply a lot of stray animals. Animals are not heavily controlled in the way that they are in like the US and Europe. So stray animals, like people's pets, are allowed to roam much of the time. Sometimes it's difficult to identify what's a stray in just someone's house animal that likes to wander. Sometimes you'll have animals that you're sure is a stray, but they'll have a collar and stuff, and they'll go somewhere. So that's complicated, first of all, but there are so many strays. And of course, they're not getting medical attention. They're in danger in many cases. They get into fights. They carry diseases. There's just a lot of things. And of course, there's traffic. And they've gotten very good about that. It's amazing how well Nicaraguan dogs, especially keep out of way of vehicles, but it's something you have to be very aware of all the time and very careful with, especially if you're driving. You really got to be aware of how to deal with dogs and to keep them safe. But those dogs need homes. Those dogs need medical care. Those dogs need spayed and neutered for sure. And some people, like from my channel, Jillian, who lives in Las Pinitas, helps run spay and neuter programs for the stray animals. They actually round them up and get them some medical care because that gives them much better lives and reduces the strays in the future. It's actually solving the problem in the general sense, and it really does make a big difference. So there's a lot of things that as an expat living in the country, you can get involved, right? You can get involved in spay and neuters. You can sponsor spay and neuters. You can, I have collected animals who've been injured off the side of the road and made them into pets. You can especially adopt a load of stray animals. Just keep adopting as much as you can. Cats, dogs, whatever. They all need love. They're out there. There's no shortage. Go find yourself some best friends and let them live with you. Don't go buying animals, of course. But you can do a lot. Feed the strays for sure. And there's just, you can get involved. On the direct side, all the things I mentioned, there's also this being in the community and showing this devotion to the animals is a really big deal. Nicaraguans have a tendency, there are some Nicaraguans who are absolutely in love with their animals and see them the way that North Americans do and Europeans do, but most are, this is a new concept. And so like for us, our dogs sleep in our bed, right? Obviously, if you watch my channel, you know my dogs sleep with me. And they're always with me outside, and they're my best friends, and they get treated amazingly. We fly them down on private flights, and like they're family, right? There's lizards running around behind me. And to a lot of Nicaraguans, a lot of our friends will come over and people will stay at the house. And sometimes we have people, we're like, hey, we need someone to stay with our dogs. And our dogs will just get into bed with them. And they're like, what? I've never slept with a dog before. And now they're like, this is really weird, but the dog needs a place to sleep. And like Marcela, I don't think she ever had a dog sleep with her before knowing us. And now her own dog sleeps in their bed all the time, Betty. And, like there's this whole like culture of getting to see animals differently, to view them as valuable, to view them as lives to be treasured, to view them as friends, to view them as members of the family. These are things that by projecting this, by showing our behavior with animals and how great our relationship is with the animals and how much the animals love us and we love them, it opens the eyes to a lot of people that these are valuable living creatures that can be valuable parts of their lives and need to be taken care of. And that's a really important thing that we can bring to the culture. And of course, you could get involved, you could go make ads, put up billboards, run YouTube ads or whatever, promoting taking care of animals and different things. Those are options, right? There's ways you can get involved and do things. But that is an area where certainly all of Nicaragua struggles. It is a challenge. There just isn't the money to go just magically fix things, and there isn't necessarily the view that it's such a major problem, because they view it as how much does it impact the humans, and for me, I'm looking at it as how much have we impacted the animals, and we need to provide for them and take care of them, because they are domesticated animals that are not meant to be wild, and this is not a great thing. The cats that are wild is far less of an issue than the dogs that are wild, but both are things that we can help take care of. And so a lot of that, and wildlife protection in general, all things that it's easy to have a positive impact as an expat when you just put a little bit of effort into that. So those, without going too long into tiny issues, those are really, I'm going to turn the camera around because the chicken is here, and this is Lucifer the chicken. We've shown her a few times, also known as Lucy. And sometimes she'll chase me. She is hilarious. She woke up on the chair by my bed this morning. Those are my big things of what I would improve in Leon, what's really needed. Of course, you can find a million little things in any community that would be great to fix. I think with the litter and trash problem, one of the things that I would often talk about in the past is how much I think that the rivers need to be cleaned up, and there's a big opportunity to have this beautiful area by the river, and it's not, it's all full of trash, and that really is, you fix the trash, the rivers are going to be automatically fixed, right? There may be other things you need to do after that, but that is a starting point. Now, some things in Leon that I generally don't like, and these are not things that you can change and are not necessarily bad. It's a colonial city. I actually don't like colonial cities. I love them to visit, Antigua, Guatemala. It's a great vacation spot, but to actually live in, I don't like all the colonial stuff, the colonial rules and all that. It's very difficult to live in the middle of. It's very difficult to have to be constrained by those designs and stuff from so long ago, which of course I totally appreciate that they're keeping the place like Granada as a living museum. You need to, but as someone who lives there, it makes traffic very difficult. It makes the roads very small. The sidewalks are very weird. If we were to wipe out Leon and start over and put in all modern housing, I think you'd have a very, very different city that would be so livable and so nice, and so much more compact, and be able to do just so much more. But we can't, because it's a colonial city. So that's something, and there's a lot of cobblestone streets, which of course I appreciate that they're old cobblestone streets. Like, it's so cool. Go to Sutiaba, drive around the plaza. Holy cow, those roads are hundreds of years old, and they're still there. But man, is it hard to drive. It's so hard to walk. It's so hard to navigate. So those kinds of challenges, just because it's a colonial city, but you can't change those. I wouldn't change those, right? You could be like, okay, Scott said no more colonial. We're going to make it a modern city. I'd be like, no, I just don't like it, but it has to be. You can't get rid of it. So that's one of the reasons I like Matagalpa, is it's a Nicaraguan modern city where they're building new things, and things are built around people's needs today rather than people's needs 500 years ago. And so that kind of stuff in Leon is big. And of course, because of that, the city's just old. So there's old water pipes, there's old infrastructure, and a lot of that's the amount of upgrading that they're doing to that is incredible. 10 years ago, 8 years ago, they put in the fiber internet, so that's fantastic. I remember when they said Leon had bad internet. No, it's fantastic. And the water is constantly being upgraded. We're not on municipal, so we don't really notice it day to day. But when we lived in La Barrio a number of years ago, the water was a struggle. But they're upgrading the electrical infrastructure, they're upgrading the water infrastructure. But it takes a long time, because they have to go through this colonial city and work with all this really old infrastructure. But they're out there doing it just constantly. The amount of work, and it's not like in the U.S. where they're doing work constantly, and it's just a union sitting in one spot and nothing ever gets done, and they're just all sitting around, and you drive by and you're like, they were in the same position last week. No. This place, it's amazing. They're like one street one day, next street the next day. Like, they tear up a road and put it back together in the same day. They move so fast with so much less equipment. It's mind-blowing. You will never, ever question whether the road crews in the United States are being unproductive again. You will go by and be like, a Nicaraguan would have paved this entire highway in a week, right? And the U.S. is it's like a 2-year project and just sprawls on. I don't know how they do it, but they just work, and it gets done. It's absolutely amazing. And they work through the night. Now, I know Americans work through the night too. And I know there are places that there are crews that get things done. But in general, we're so used to everyone just sitting around, and it's completely different. So yes, the city's constantly being ripped up, but holy cow, we're getting a new city out of it, and all new infrastructure. So that's great. That's not a negative. We're almost done, and this amazing trajectory is going on. But working around this old colonial city has made that so much harder. Has made the need so much greater. So those are just things to be aware of when you're looking at Leon. But remember, with all of this, Leon is still the city I pick, right? Now, it's true, I do say Matagalpa is my first pick for a city on my own. We really love the community and people and all of our friends in Leon, and being close to the beach, that's always been where we really like to be. And it's such a wonderful community, and we love the nightlife and everything. I've long wanted, right? I would love to have a place in Matagalpa, be able to bounce back and forth. When it's a hot day, I want to go up to the mountains and cool down. And I want the variety, right? There's different restaurants. There's Diagon Alley. There's, the patio by Woods. There is, just all kinds of different restaurants and all kinds of different views, and just the vibe is so different, and all those cafes. I want to be able to do that stuff easily, regularly, and maybe at some point we'll get there and be able to do that. But I just love Matagalpa. My wife loves Matagalpa. My kids like Matagalpa. It's always been very high on our list of places that we like. We've always felt very connected to it. We've been going there for 10 years. When my company opened offices in Nicaragua, that's where we opened them. But my wife really likes being near the beach. She finds that very relaxing, and so we ended up in Leon. for that reason, and just fell in love with the city and all the people. But there are other places that I really like around the country, for sure. Even out here, right in the Messiah area, absolutely fantastic. I love Carazo. I love Messiah. I mean, the reality is I like Nicaragua, and I find all the different regions to be interesting in their own way and beautiful and have a lot to offer. Leon, it is the community and the beach that really have made it for us. And the live music scene is fantastic. But every time I'm in a different region, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so surprising how much different areas have different things to offer. And it's just such a different lifestyle. And you can get so much variety in such a small country. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone for joining me. Thank you for the question. Please remember to like and subscribe, do all those cool things. If you'd like to sponsor the channel, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Scott Allen Miller. I'll need to drive up to Metagalpa to find coffee, of course, but I'll be doing that. And I actually have been going without coffee the last few days. I was so tired the other night, and I said to myself, all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, I just went 3 days without a coffee. Oh my gosh, no wonder I'm so tired. And it's just, because normally I drink 3-4 cups a day. And get in those show notes, check all that information out, leave a comment. Absolutely. Tell someone, go on social media and like post links to the show, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. And if you know anyone who has any interest in retiring, relocating, living in Latin America, anything like that, or just like hearing this soothing voice drone on for a long time. Some people need that, right? It's like a talk show on old AM radio. Have them come over and check out the show, and a backfire right as I go to wrap up the show. And I will see all of you tomorrow.